evening and welcome to our MCPS Waymaking special on student mental health. We are recording to you today live from my home office. Why I don't have on a mask today. So I want to thank everyone for joining us during this important discussion about mental health and the impact that it has in our schools and in Montgomery County. My name is Dr. Christina Connolly, and I'm the Director of Psychological Services for the Montgomery County Public Schools. Next, we will have my co-host for the evening introduce herself to our audience.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lauren. I'm a student intern with the Office of Student and Family Support and Engagement, and I'm also a current senior at Poolsville High School. Talking about student mental health as a community is very important. We need to normalize this conversation in our community. Due to stigma, too many individuals do not seek mental health support or do not have the correct diagnosis to receive the support they need. Students need to be especially aware of the signs of mental health and steps that they and their schools can take to become mentally healthy. The brain is an organ of the body, just like the heart, lungs, and more. Mental health is just as essential to each of us going into school and work as your heartbeat or breathing. We're excited to have our student member of the Montgomery County Board of Education join us today to set the context for this conversation.
I'm Hannah Oluni, your 44th student member of the Board of Education. Welcome to this Waymaking special on student mental health for MCPS's Mental Health Awareness Week. Mental health and well-being are essential needs for our students and adults to perform well academically and face better outcomes in school and in life, which is why it's important to have conversations like these to destigmatize the issue. We know that students who have a strong, supportive family, a network of close friends, and who are supported by their school will be more open to the education that they receive and grow as community members. While the mental health of students has always been important, it is even more so now due to the impact of the pandemic and other crisis events that have occurred over the past 18 months. MCPS has made significant gains in improving mental health supports and services to our students and families, and developing further staff member capacity to recognize students in distress. However, in light of recent tragic events, we can always do more. As you participate in today's events, I hope that you can gain some information and life skills that you can share with your peers so that we can create a more supportive student culture surrounding mental health in our community. Enjoy the show, and as always, feel free to reach out if you have any questions or concerns.
Thank you, Hannah. We know that people may have additional questions about mental health topics, and we encourage everyone to please go to our Waymaking special website for the link to the Waymaking videos that cover a variety of mental health topics, including stress and anxiety, suicide prevention, sleep management, etc.
Today, we will talk about what students are seeing in our schools and what mental health support they feel is needed for students. Our session tonight is divided into 3 parts, 2 panel discussions, and then a period for question and answers. The first panel discussion will focus on what concerns students are seeing at school around mental health. The second panel discussion will focus on what the students feel is needed to support mental health in schools. We will also be interspersing videos from students in the high schools, Our Mind Matters clubs, talking about mental health in schools. Throughout, you can post your questions in the chat. Several of our colleagues will compile the questions so that panelists respond to the questions in the third section of the program. I want to quickly review our highlights of this year's virtual Mental Health Awareness Week. Students can get up to 11 SSL hours for listening to the asynchronous training opportunities marked by an SSL next to them, and complete the online form documenting what you watched and attending each of the 3 live events this week. There is a range of topics on mental health on the site, and new videos will be posted each day of this week. Also, with each of the live events, you can ask the experts during each of the Q&A sessions. Our event on Thursday discusses careers in mental health. Saturday's live event will be a resource fair that will highlight various agencies that provide mental health service in Montgomery County. Each of the live events will be virtual and can be watched on YouTube.
All right. But before we get to your questions, I want to introduce our panelists so we can get started with today's conversation. So to get started, I would like to introduce our first panelist. Shelton is a 12th grade student at Albert Einstein High School. He is a member of the Montgomery County Regional Student Government Association and serves as an educational policy deputy. Welcome. Next, we will have Mahi. She is an 11th grade student at Northwest High School. She is the treasurer of the Montgomery County Regional Student Government Association and a student member of the Social Emotional Work Group, advocating for the mental health needs of the students across the county. Welcome. Next, we will have Kaylee. She is a junior in the IB program at Rockville High School. Kaylee is the president of Rockville Minds Matter. Welcome. And last, we will have Daniel, who is a 10th grade student at Richard Montgomery High School. He is a member of the Montgomery County Regional Student Government Association as a mental health task force coordinator. Welcome to you all. Now, so we are going to begin with our first panel for the evening. Now, we do hope that this is more of a dialogue, and so we hope that our panelists can build on what each other are saying. And so first, there are a lot of conversations in school around the need for mental health support for our students. What are some of the concerns that you are seeing with students in the schools that you attend?
Yeah, definitely. I think I'll answer this one first. I know coming back into school after virtual learning and, this quick transition from school in person to virtual learning, it was very hard to transition for many students back into the in-person environment. We lost that connection socially and physically, talking to our teachers and talking with our peers. I think it had a big impact on how students perceived their environment and perceived how they actually feel and how they work in a social environment. And so one thing that I found that was pretty detrimental was that our counselors get flooded with so much administrative work, and they're only taught firsthand actions to take care of our students when certain mental health needs are, confronted. And at the same time, for the DCC, which is the Down County Consortium in Montgomery County, our psychologists, we only have 2. And many of them deal with 504 plan students, which are students who have mental and physical needs and accommodations. And they are the first priority of our psychologists, which is important and completely understanding. But at the same time, we do need more psychologists to get back to our students in every grade level, in every situation, because every student is dealing with a mental health situation in some type of way.
I completely agree with Shelton. First quarter was extremely difficult for a lot of students. Many students have lacked motivation and energy to be able to handle workload and extracurriculars. There's also been a feeling of there being a lack of resources for a lot of students, whether that's lack of psychologists or just overall mental health resources. And so, I've seen depression, stress, and anxiety levels be at an all-time high just this past quarter.
I think I'll answer next. Just like what Mahi and Shelton stated, the beginning of the school year has been tough for a lot of us, including myself. We struggled with stress and anxiety coming back from a virtual environment. And it's been really hard trying to manage that work-life balance that many of us, didn't have over the pandemic. So for first quarter, like a lot of us, it felt like our teachers were piling on work, not getting our struggles. And they really, I guess they're trying to, make us understand and teach us the material, but they kind of felt like they're piling things on. And many of us felt really overwhelmed because of that.
I think you guys have said it very well. I have heard a lot of comments on the transition from having to do very little work in order to be successful in school, to being overwhelmed with not only the academic aspect, but also the social aspect.
Oh, and thank you all for your comments. I mean, and listening to you, I mean, and I'm hearing this from students all over the county as well. The struggle it's been from going from being in school in a virtual environment and trying to come back in person, the stress for trying to get back into the work, anxiety, depression, trying to figure out how to re-socialize with your friends again, and just kind of all of this coming together has led to a very stressful experience for many of our students across the county. So, I really do want to thank you all for sharing that because, again, I think you all are right on, and I'm hearing that all over in almost all the schools across the county of all different ages of students that are going through this. And now one of the things that you all also brought up is the need for more staff members who are trained in providing mental health services for students. And so I'm curious, what are some of your thoughts around some of the negative impacts of when students are not able to receive the mental health support that they need?
Yeah, I guess so. Answer. I know that one thing for sure that has happened, during COVID and coming back is that many students have had to either, take up a job to help provide for their family, if that's paying rent or putting food on the table, take care of their siblings after school, and some people even lost their parents or lost family members. And it's really hard on students, and I think that if we were to start thinking about mental health earlier on when COVID first started and the impacts of a global pandemic, which can affect everyone, I think that would have caused, different situation that we're having now, where we would have more trained specialists in the mental health field and other things of that nature. And it's very upsetting because many students are going through these problems without knowing that they're going through them, or may not know how to obtain access to these, to the different sources and help that they need for the different situations that they're facing.
I think that the largest impact so far has been for students that are already feeling, the lack of mental health resources, the issue that, not only are they having problems resocializing and being able to have someone to rely on, but now they also feel like they don't have an adult aspect or administration that they can also rely on. And so it kind of throws students back into a constant loop where they feel that they're just unable to get the help and the support that they need to be able to get out of that loop, to be able to do better in school or out of school. And so I think that has been something that has really impacted a lot of students in terms of having a lack of resources.
And to add on, like even students who never suffered from anxiety or never was stressed from schoolwork nowadays are really stressed because we all expected this to be a normal school year, treated like how every other school year was. But truth is, it isn't. Because of the pandemic, a lot of us, lost that work ethic, lost, how to manage our time properly, and lost that, academic rigor that used to drive us. And now we're having a really hard time transitioning back into that in-person experience.
I think a huge impact, especially with mental health resources, is that the relationships that usually we would have had time to build with our mental health professionals in school haven't happened. Like for sophomores and freshmen this year, they barely knew their way around the building when they first got here, much less they had the opportunity to build those relationships with teachers and counselors. And that I think is really important when you're seeking mental health support in school, is having those relationships that you can rely on.
And also really quickly, I think another big impact is the stigma of seeking mental health treatment, which is very, unfortunate because many students who are low income, they can't afford mental health treatment, or, for example, in the African-American community, a stigma of mental health is negative. And so to destigmatize things like that, and also for immigrants who, may not trust the health services or the system of the U.S. government, is very upsetting because, many students need this help, and they need the help of our schools and our partners. And if they can't get access to it, if they can't afford it, then I think that our school district should compensate for those needs and compensate for the help that they need in that situation.
I actually wanted to touch on some points that Shelton and Kaylee actually just made. I think that, like Shelton said, for that reason, a lot of students go undiagnosed. That makes mental health an issue even more, especially if they're afraid to speak out about their mental health because of the stigma that there is around it. Kaylee also made the point that I think there are different demographics who are affected in different ways. And I think that for that reason, a lot of our neurodivergent students and our ESOL students have also been thrown back into this school system without any resources. And they're also being impacted largely, even though it's slightly in a different way. They may not be able to, mold back into the school system and be able to learn the way they used to.
No, you all have brought up some excellent points in terms of looking at, the relationships that need to be built, or rebuilt. You have students who are coming into a new building, like the high school level. You have freshmen and sophomores who haven't been there. And then so they don't know what some of the resources or some of the supports that may be around in order to help them are. But also, and you talked about the stigma of mental health, especially in communities of color, where, getting mental health treatment is thought upon negatively. And so a lot of times they're not going out and getting the support that they need, even though, that is something that we should have ability for everyone to be able to go out and to get that. And especially I know you talked about those who are neurodiverse and those who speak the language other than English, and the struggles of being able to come back into a new environment and that transition out from virtual back into school. And then also, in terms of being able to get some of the mental health needs that you have with a clinician that speaks your language. And so we're always looking for, I know as we have our careers in mental health event on Thursday for our kids to kind of learn more about this, we are always looking to hire folks who speak languages other than English. You want to come who are a mental health professional, you will always have a job. Because we are always actively seeking out and hiring additional psychologists, counselors, social workers, all sorts of folks to be able to come and provide mental health services for our students. Unfortunately, there's always a job available because we have many vacancies and don't have enough people to fill them. And so because the need is great. And one of the things I know you also brought up was that the need was there before the pandemic. And so now we're seeing an increased need since the pandemic started, and just due to the trauma of COVID, the trauma of issues around racial injustice, the trauma of a whole lot of things that have happened over these past 18 months. And what is it that, we can do in order to, those of us who work in schools, providing that support for students, and trying to make sure that you all are getting your needs met. Because, one of the big things, and I think it was Shelton who brought up at Einstein. So you all have kind of like a 1.5 psychologists. So you have a psychologist who's there full time, and then you have a psychologist who's split between Einstein and Paint Branch. But for how big your building is not enough. And so what can we do? But then there's also some high schools who they're still sharing somebody, just that one person. They don't even have a full-time person. Or because even with our middle schools and our elementary schools, for many times our elementary schools, they have the psychologist has 3 schools. So in terms of us looking at trying to get the support, trying to figure out new and creative ways of helping our students and partnerships in form with outside agencies in order to get some of the mental health support we need. But also you all brought up that in schools, for students, especially who maybe don't have enough healthcare or healthcare coverage in order to get some of the mental health support in the community, that the schools do provide that for free. And so we really want to make sure, especially for our students who are watching this and maybe wondering, so how can I participate in this? Go talk to your teachers, talk to your administrators, talk to your counselors, your psychologists. If your building has a social worker, you can talk with them and try to figure out like how can I make a referral for myself to go and get some of the mental health support that is needed, because those services can be provided for students for free at school with the school-based staff. So, but it's just that, as you all brought up, like a lot of folks don't even know that that exists. So as we're going on and thinking about this, so I have another question for you all. And so I'm curious, like, as you all, what are some of the mental health concerns that you all are seeing with our students, like specifically, like what are some things that you all are seeing with your friends or your classmates in terms of some of the help that is needed?
I guess I will go. So really quickly touch on your topic. You said there was a vacancy of psychologists, and one question is how can we, get more psychologists in our schools? And I think that if we, we have to look at benefits that we're offering, and things like that. And I think it all plays a role into, why is MCPS the choice for you? And so I think, if we build on that and build on, increasing more positivity in our departments and things like that, I'm not saying that it's none, but I'm saying that, if we work on that, then I think we can get a little more people. But at the same time, to answer this question that you just gave, I think that I know for myself at least, I have, been stressed out, I've been, anxious and things like that with schoolwork and workload and things like that. And, being virtual, you lose that teacher to student connection and peer-to-peer connection. And you learn from all of those connections that you're in. And, being in a box like this, but everybody's camera is off is a bit, not the best. In the morning you wake up, you're like, okay, what the heck? But I think that, many people have faced these stress and anxieties because of that, and they lost a social connection. And with that, we haven't had the help that we needed. We don't know how to process what we're going through, or when we're, really stressed, when we're really anxious. And so I think having services and webinars like this to talk about the importance of knowing when you're having a mental health situation or anxious or stressed is important, because it teaches students and adults, what is my child going through? What are my friends going through? What am I going through? And how can I fix that?
A great point that Shelton brought up was that peer-to-peer and peer-to-student connection, peer-to-teacher connection that many of us underclassmen have lost. As a sophomore, I'm kind of afraid to ask my teachers for help, and I kind of didn't learn that skills that was necessary for ninth grade. Like, I learned so much back in the day when I was in person from like my friends and from upperclassmen who used to teach me, studying tips, ways to manage my time, ways to ask my teachers for help, let them know that I need that extra time for assignment, let them know that I need extra help, that I need to stay with them after school. But we kind of lost that over the virtual environment because, everything was virtual and everything was, we met our teachers on the screen, we met our peers on the screen. So we didn't really build those connections. And I think that's been a huge detriment because we just don't know how to communicate with their teachers. And especially for me, at least, I feel like that we, as underclassmen, we've kind of been thrown into a school, without any explanations, without any help, and just expected to survive on our own. And I know that many of my friends have just struggled, just to get that extra help that we need from our teachers.
I know for me, as a student in the IB program, communication with your teachers is key. And like my co-panelists have mentioned, that it has become much more difficult now that we have been in virtual school, where we didn't get that in-person connection with our peers and our teachers. I think it's really important to be able to communicate with your teachers, especially in the IB program, because it's no secret that it's a really rigorous workload. But I think it's important for everyone to be able to get that help that they need from authority figures in the school building, whether it be a counselor or a teacher that they feel comfortable talking to.
Yeah, I think like Kelly said, due to the huge lack of communication, I think that there also haven't been, a set of boundaries that have been set, especially by students. So I think that teachers and administration also doesn't know, how much students, may be struggling. So, even for me, the amount of work I've had has been overwhelming, and usually I used to get sleep, I wasn't a coffee drinker. I became one this year. It was just a lot of work. And so for me, being able to communicate that the amount of work I'm getting has been really stressful and I don't understand the work and the material being taught was something that I had to get comfortable with again, and become a little bit more comfortable, not being confrontational, but just being able to talk with my teachers.
Oh, wow. I mean, from the things we all say, I mean, just the stress from the workload. And because that, when you talked about, like, that was different from last year, and just trying to figure out new ways of that, building those connections. I'm hearing a lot about, the pandemic helped in terms of separating folks. Like, you're on Zoom, you're in a box, you got your camera off, you didn't build those relationships with the teachers in your school, the staff. And then now you've come back those conversations with teachers about the workload, that it's too much. I mean, I hear a lot about, like, oh my God, they missed so much. There's all these conversations around learning loss and teachers feeling pressure to put all the stuff back in there to try to catch you back up, but it's creating additional stress on all of you, which in the end can sit there and end up, backfiring in front of everybody's face because of just all the stress that you all are experiencing, just to being back. I mean, and you got to think from the student's perspective, like, issues around mental health was there before the pandemic. It's not like these things aren't new. It's that the pandemic has, like, greatly intensified all of the issues and concerns that are there for students at all ages, and just trying to figure out, like, what is our new normal? Because the thought of we're going to go back to the way it was, I don't think exists. I mean, I talked to the school psychologists around the country, and they discuss there are students that are struggling everywhere. It's not just an MCPS thing. And what can be done in order to try to help in alleviating the stress and the pressure that is there for coming back. And because that's leading to issues with a lack of sleep, it's the lack of exercise, lack of just all these different things, but you're sitting there just really focused on your work, and then not having the social support that used to be there. I mean, you think about, when was the last time you all were in the quote unquote normal year? That was like 3 school years ago. And so, I mean, even in thinking about, my daughter who's in middle school, like, her first normal year was 4th grade. She's in 7th grade now. And so just trying to get acclimated to, wait, what is this? Or maybe in a new building or at a new level, and just trying to figure out all this stuff like that. Just seems like it's a lot for all of you kind of in going through all of this. So what can we do as the adults, from the administration, the teaching staff, the mental health staff in the school, and others, trying to think about, so what are some of the things that we can do next in order to try to help you all with this? So, but with that, I do want to thank you all for this first half of the conversation, because in a couple of minutes, we will come back to our panel for more discussion on what support they feel is needed in our schools. And again, we will be back for our question and answer period later in this forum. And so, we are going to transition to more questions in a minute. Again, please feel free to put your questions and reactions in the chat. As you are writing your questions, we are going to take a couple of minutes to share some thoughts from our students in our high school Our Minds Matter clubs.
Last week was extremely stressful. However, I had a teacher-student interaction that positively impacted me more than any before. I studied and I thought I was prepared for my pre-calculus test. However, as soon as I received the paper, my mind went blank. I started to freak out, and my teacher, Mr. Gordon, noticed immediately and tried to calm me down. He gave me breathing exercises and told me he understood my feelings. After this experience, I really felt as if some teachers really understood the severity of mental health. He believed in me, and that belief helped me move forward. Thank you, Mr. Gordon, for realizing that the student as a person is much more important than a test.
There are endless opportunities when it comes to prioritizing your own mental health and introducing coping skills that will help you in the long run into your life as a teenager. For me, some of the activities I do to prioritize my own mental health are going for walks or bike rides, talking to my friends, listening to music, or talking to a trusted adult. All of these things help me to see something beautiful in my life that will make my day better.
So something that's really been helping me and my mental health during COVID-19 has honestly been listening to music. I know that sounds really simple, but just taking a second to put on some really heavy music has helped me kind of get rid of my emotions in a really cathartic way. Even going on walks outside kind of helps me connect to nature, and that sounds really hippie, but it's been really helpful for me, especially in the rain, just kind of going and having this feeling of nature on you. It's just, it sounds really weird, but it's really been helpful for me. Going on runs, exercising, these things sound really simple, but I think that's why they work so well, is because they're just such easy and effective methods of instant mental health relief. Also just having friends to talk to, having a teacher to talk to has been really helpful, and definitely recommend. Really helpful for me.
In our last section, we talked about what students were experiencing in our schools. We want to move on now to what support students feel are needed in our schools to help students. So with this next section, can our panelists, can you share what kinds of support do you think students need to help them be mentally healthy? And do you feel this support is needed even more or less prior to the pandemic?
I think this was really emphasized by our previous conversation, but I think that it's definitely a lot more imperative to have mental health resources now after the pandemic for struggling students. I really think that there are many factors that contribute to student well-being, whether that's ensuring that we have enough staff members to help tutor students, whether that's ensuring we have enough psychologists at schools. And I also think that we really need to have conversations about mental health in our schools and our classes. As well as conversations about ongoing issues in our communities, because I think that various things can impact student well-being. And I think that even if there is a lack of psychologists in schools, just ensuring that there are administration who are equipped with the tools needed to support students in schools can be really important. Helping students with their mental health can be something as simple as doing a mental health check-in in schools, or just being on the lookout for struggling students.
Yeah, like what Mahi said, it's important that we kind of create an open and warm environment for us to talk about our mental health struggles, because I remember that in our school, we talked about what we were struggling with and what we wanted to see changes in the administration. And the administration, all created this, during our advisory, created this form, this Google form that we can fill out. And that was really helpful because many of us had the same concerns and we voiced those concerns. And then we got, the administration did actions to correct that. For example, all of us were stressed about tests getting piled on each other. So for one day, we will have a math test, a Spanish test, and an English test all on the same day, which was really stressful for all of us. So we told our administration that, and now they created specific days for specific test days for specific subjects. And that really helped a lot of us, get some sleep and study and be more prepared for the test itself.
I think that's really important that the administration listen to the students. I know that for me, talking to my friends and teachers is really helpful, as I've heard repeated many times by my peers. But really knowing that it will have an impact makes it even better, especially like my co-panelist said, like if the administration is listening and actually does something about the problems we're voicing, I think that would be really helpful.
I completely agree with everyone. I just want to add that I think if we diversify our counseling department and our psychology department, then it'll be more open to more students seeing someone that looks like them and saying, well, maybe they understand what I'm going through as a person of color, a person that only speaks Spanish or, whatever language that they may speak. And I think that, it'll help with whatever need they, and destigmatize the stigma of, mental health diagnosis being bad. And, along with that, mental health needs to be treated as any other, disorder, any other illness, such as physical illness, emotional illness. And, that's how we should look at it. And many students don't look at it that way. Many people don't look at it that way. And it's, along with that, I think that also teachers, we need to take into account their mental health. They're teaching us as students, and they may get overwhelmed and things like that. And funny enough to say, we always think, oh, adults, they figured it out. But, many of the adults that I know said that they haven't. And it's important that, they are treated with equal access to mental health care and access to physical care and things of that nature, so that they can be teaching us on a positive mindset, teaching us quality education, and creating the equity that MCPS prides.
Absolutely. Those were all excellent points that everyone made. Specifically, Shelton, I think the point regarding teachers' mental health, that is so often overlooked. And I think that can create a domino effect when our teachers are feeling unwell, that can transmit over to students as well. So it's really important that there is a shared collaborative environment where everyone and their mental health needs are accounted for within our school system. So a follow-up question. So if each of you lived in a perfect world, what would it look like for you for students to get their mental health supports met?
I think, like I said before, really having that administration that really listens to students, smaller class sizes where everyone has their individual needs met. Often the education system is very generalized, where some people will want to go faster with their education, where some people might need to really work on a subject that they don't quite understand, but they just need it to be said in a different way. I think it would be really important in the ideal world for everyone to get that individualized support.
I agree. In a perfect world, I hope, nobody would have any, mental health situations. But in an ideal world, I guess that, having a mentoring program, I think that it's very essential. It's, shown to be successful in success and graduation, because it helps, for example, freshmen's paired mentor with a junior or upperclassman. Helps them understand what classes they should take, depending on what interests they have. Losing that stress about, what classes should I take, for my future, whatever I want to do. And so I think having that mentorship, having that support system behind you as a freshman coming into high school is very essential to creating an environment that is inclusive of not only everyday students or normal students, as they say, but also our ESOL students and our foreign exchange students, so that we can be inclusive of all students in our school.
I think in a perfect world, in an ideal world, the teachers can be open and honest and create an environment that you're not afraid to ask for help. And so much of the time, many students feel like they're going to get judged, or teachers will think lessly of them if they go up and ask for, hey, I just need help. Like, I know that I've often struggled to ask for help with my teachers. I feel like that they would think I'm stupid, think that I'm not worthy, think that I don't belong in their class, and think that I should, move down to a lower class or just not take that class at all. In the ideal world, things like that should never happen, because teachers are there to, support us and help us and see us fight through the end. Also, I think something that we need to talk about is the fact that in an ideal world, our counseling department and our teaching department will be really, really diverse and reflect the student population that's present in their schools. My school, for example, has a sizable population of minorities, but we only have a majority of white teachers, which makes it really hard for us to, connect and share experiences and open up to many of our teachers, not even just counselors.
I agree with what everyone said. I think everyone had the perfect points. I think in my ideal world, again, like Daniel said, having, diverse teachers, having diverse counseling. And then also, like Shelton said, a buddy system would be amazing. And I think that in an ideal world, just ensuring that there is a destigmatized, community surrounding mental health would be the way to go for a lot of students. So ensuring, that students are able to have those conversations with whether it's their teachers, administration, or even with their peers, whether that's through support groups or through advisory sessions, whatever that may be.
Another point I would like to add is a common source of stress that I hear about is homework, the amount of homework that we get in every single class. I think in an ideal world, it would be up to the teacher who knows the subject that they're teaching and knows what their student needs to assign the homework, or in an ideal world, the student would be able to know how much homework they needed in order to have the education that they need, to really have that subject down without the additional stress of doing work they don't need to do.
Awesome. Everyone brought up really great points. So some of our schools are participating in social emotional learning lessons, mindfulness, and other school-wide activities. Have any of you participated in these activities or engaged in activities like these? If yes, what were they?
Yeah, so I go to Northwest High School, and we're really lucky to have really supportive administration. But every single Wednesday, we have these advisory periods where we have mindfulness sessions, and they're usually about like an hour long. We watch videos. We've actually seen some from, I think it was Be Well 365, and we just have sessions where students get to kind of learn about how to take care of their mental health and different ways to, handle stress outside of school.
Yeah, I agree. At Einstein, we have a wellness center. Once a week, we have a psychologist who comes in, opens the door. It's a nice Zen area. And we also, show videos and things like this. And I think it's very beneficial, not only for the, students, but teachers go in there as well. And they, relax. I go in there sometimes. And I think it helps a lot. It helps me reset my mind for the rest of the day that's ahead of me. And, I'm very thankful and happy that schools are, thinking more about the importance of mental health. And I think that we have a pretty good counseling department, and I think they do a pretty good job, helping students with whatever needs that they may need.
Similar to Northwest, RM has advisory, but we also have something called Rocket Refresh. So on that day, we don't get teachers can assign homework. We don't have to take any tests. We don't learn any new content. And it's just the day for us to catch up. And that's been really helpful to me, my friends, and just peers all around our school, because that's the day where we can just relax, where we can catch up any unfinished work, ask the teacher for help, and just, not really stress about anything that's, any test on that day, which is great for our mental health.
Yeah, my school does the same thing as Daniel's. At Rockville High School, we have Wellness Wednesdays before the week before interims and the week before the quarter ends to catch up on work and kind of do some housekeeping if we have any missed assignments. And it has really helped a lot of people that I know to really have that day where they don't have to worry about getting any extra homework, where they can just focus on what they have to do.
Also, I think that it's important that we start introducing the importance of taking care of your mental health at a younger age, probably at elementary school, because we have seen that the increasing number of students being diagnosed with mental health and different mental health illnesses across the country have been starting at around fourth grade, ages 12 to 13. And that's pretty early. That's, I'm sorry, I don't think that's fourth grade, but at ages 12 to 13. And that's really early. So if we start teaching the importance of mental health, teaching how to take care of your mental health, it can, change how a student finds help, how they can access help, what they can do to help themselves in that situation.
Absolutely. And I think it's wonderful how commonplace some of these mental health oriented activities have become throughout Montgomery County Public Schools. I know for me personally at Poolsville High School, we have Falcon advisory times which are on Tuesdays and Fridays. And basically that's almost 45 minutes where students are able to catch up on homework or talk with teachers or really participate in anything that will help their mental health during that time period. And I can just attest to personally how insurmountably helpful that has been for me ever since that has been implemented. I also think on the topic of mindfulness, I do know that in my AP environmental science class, shout out to my teacher, but she has us do mindfulness days before the big tests or exams or before the end of the quarter. And we bring out the yoga mats and we all lie down in the middle of the classroom and we just get to sit for a while. And I think so often it's overlooked how important and valuable that could be. And tying back to what someone said in the Our Minds Matter video, but sometimes in that simplicity, we can find a lot of peace. And I think that can be very easily overlooked. But I'm glad that these programs are becoming more widespread and there's very much a tangible effort to mitigate these mental health concerns. So lastly, do any of you participate in the student-led Our Minds Matter clubs? And can you share what this is like if you do?
Yes, so I'm actually president of Rockville Minds Matter, which is the Rockville High School chapter of Our Minds Matter. We discuss mental health. We discuss signs of different mental health disorders because often it's so normalized nowadays to feel anxious or to feel depressed that people our age often won't reach out to get help because they just think, oh, everyone's going through this, it's normal. So we have those conversations of like, no matter how invalid you think your feelings are, it's always good to get help. And that's one of the main things that we focus on.
Excellent. Okay, so thank you once again to our panel for this very important discussion. We are now going to transition and hear from a few more students in the Our Minds Matter clubs across Montgomery County. While we are listening, we ask that you continue writing your questions and reflections in the chat box.
What do you like to do when you're stressed?
When I'm feeling stressed, I like to listen to music. I'm Nafisa, and when I'm stressed, I like to listen to music.
Adults need to let kids socialize more. There is no such thing as having too much fun.
Kids have missed out on a vital 2 years of their life, and parents need to let them catch up. Please let your kids outside and have fun.
What do you do to manage your anxiety and stress?
I listen to music when I'm stressed out, and it usually calms me down.
Hi guys, I'm Julie. When I'm stressed, I like to go on Netflix or listen to music.
What do you like to do when you're stressed?
Well, I really enjoy reading.
What do you do when you're stressed?
I listen to music when I'm stressed out.
Que el cielo no es azul, ay mi amor, que es rojo dices tú, ay mi amor, ves todo al revés, ay mi amor, creo que piensas con los pies, ay mi amor, tú me traes un poco loco, un poquitito loco, estoy adivinando qué quieres y pa' cuándo y así estoy he vuelto.
All right, so I want to thank all of our students who participated in the videos that were shown today from our I Minds Matter clubs at our high schools. So now we're going to transition to our question and answer section of the program. So we have been going through all of the thoughtful questions that the community has asked and tried to put them into themes. There were a lot of questions, so we're not going to be able to get to all of them, but we're going to do our best and try to get to as many as we can. So we have a question from Simone. So it talks about, what is MCPS doing to ensure that mental health resources are distributed equitably? So I'm going to take that one real quick. So that's an excellent question. And so one of the things we do is we look at, so what are some of the services and supports that are needed within each of our schools? I know in terms of allocation of staffing, looking at the type of supports that are there, what we try to do is see, like, where is there the most need? So are there areas of the community that, let's say, don't have any mental health resources in the community? Like, let's say a lot of times people may try to refer somebody to like an outside therapist, but maybe your community doesn't have an outside therapist. One of the things we've done in MCPS is that we've contracted with a group called JESSA, and they are providing mental health services to students in those communities that what we call mental health deserts. Like, they just don't have them. It doesn't exist. And so we're looking at the expansion of that initiative as we go through the year. And we also, talk with the students, we talk with the staff and try to see, like, what's there, what are the things that are needed. And so, because we know that each community and schools have different needs as well. So, but that's an awesome question. And especially as part of our anti-bias, anti-racism audit that's happening in MCPS, that this is part of the work that we're doing and trying to ensure that we are providing support for all students that need it, and not just those that can afford it. And so I know that's been a big conversation, I know, within the Division of Psych Services around trying to provide support for students who may need a mental health diagnosis, who can't afford to get them from someplace else. And like, that's type of support that we provide for free, as well as providing counseling for students. So and in here, and I know Simone also asked, how can we figure out who our school psychologist is? So one of the things that we can do and place into the YouTube chat is the link to our psychological services webpage. We can also put in there chat, and we'll talk about this a little bit later in terms of our Be Well 365 website. So I know Mahi mentioned earlier about Be Well 365. We have a website that goes into, all the different initiatives that are under Be Well 365, our 6 essentials. That really focus on the well-being of our students and our staff. And also it has in there a listing of all of the mental health providers that are in our schools. Like, so you're a psychologist, if you have a social worker, if you're counselors, you're a pupil personnel worker or PPW, your parent community coordinator, your ESOL transition counselor, your ESOL, school-based ESOL counselors as well. And so that page has a listing of everyone if you're looking for that. Let me go through here. So looking at some of the questions, there's a whole lot of things. So for some of this, I know this is a question from Pramod. How can homeroom help students with stress, and can interesting activities be added? And so I'll throw that out to our panel, because I know you all talked about your advisory period. And so what do you think, in terms of his question or her question? What are some of the things that can be provided, you think, during homeroom for your schools?
I definitely think that having more peer-to-peer, like, social activities is pretty important and helps, break the ice between you and your classmates and your other peers in your school. Learning more about them, participating in engagement and discussion. I think it builds character, builds confidence, along with projection and articulation. And that goes a long way in the mental health of yourself as well. You feel more confident. You feel like you've made more friends in a social environment, which, reduces that stress or reduces that uncomfortability of, being in a weird environment where you don't know many people or you don't know how to express yourself in a larger environment.
All right, thank you. And then a question came from Dahlia. Can students go to their grade level counselor to meet the school psychologist to get help? And then also from Leah, is the school psychologist only a high school thing? So kind of to tie into both of those, you can go to your counselor if you want to go and meet your school psychologist, because sometimes some of your schools are not there every day. So if you go to your counselor and say, hey, I want to go meet the school psychologist, you can go do that. And school psychologists are assigned to all schools in MCPS. It is not just a high school. And another student asked if you have to have a 504 plan to meet your psychologist. No. And so any student, whether you have an IEP, a 504 plan, or just a student who's not receiving any other kind of specialized services in schools, but you can still go, all students can go forth and meet their school psychologist and figure out and talk to them and see what type of services and support they can provide in your schools, and whether maybe, you may want to go to them to get help because they are school psychologists. I know someone asked a question around like, what is a psychologist? So a psychologist is a mental health professional. So we go to grad school and we get trained on how to provide testing for students who may like looking at if you're having academic problems or stress, anxiety, other kinds of social emotional issues. So we do evaluations and diagnosing. So let's say if you have someone who has depression or anxiety or all kinds of mental health concerns, we provide diagnosing for that for students who are in need of either accommodations or specialized instructions through special education. We also are trained in how to provide counseling to students. And so many of us are trained in numerous types of therapeutic or like different therapy techniques. I'm not going to get into all the different types of ones, but school psychologists go through additional training in order to learn how to provide that type of more intensive support in schools. We're also experts in providing support in terms of consultation, both academic and behavioral, going in, doing observations of students. Let's say if a student has a particular behavior concern, we go in and try to figure out and work with a team in school around like figuring out like what's the function of that behavior and what types of interventions may the student need in order to they can get help. So a school psychologist, just like in your outside community, you may have like clinical psychologists or other types of therapists that are there. School psychologists are like a clinical psychologist, but you are specially trained in how to work in a school. So kind of like when you go to the doctor, you can have a cardiologist that works on hearts, or you can have an endocrinologist that works with your endocrine system, or you go to different doctors, medical doctors, and they have specialization. So, but school psychology is a specialization within the psychology field. It's just we're being trained on how to work with students in schools and how to work with families in the community. Okay. And on here, I'm trying to think, I'm going through all of your questions that are listed on here. And someone asked, is every mind crisis line like a therapist thing? No, the every mind crisis line is a way. So let's say if you are you or your friend is having immediate crisis, let's say you're thinking about potentially harming yourself or like suicidal ideation, you can call there. You'll get in touch with a mental health professional that'll talk to you and figure out what types of supports may you need. Do you need a referral for other services in the community? Should you go and get referred for hospitalization? So they're there to try to talk to you, especially if you're feeling like I'm having a mental health crisis right at this moment and I need somebody to immediately talk to, because they're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So every mind is there. So they're not there to go to for every week counseling, but if you're or your friend is in an immediate crisis situation, they're there to help you with that. All right. And so then there's been a couple of questions around dealing with bullying and peer pressure. So first thing I would say, so if you are a student who is experiencing bullying, so try to make sure to go talk to a trusted adult around what's going on so that we can get to the help for you that you need. And so you can contact the Every Mind crisis tip line. You can also contact, if you want to report anonymously, you can contact the Maryland Safe Schools tip line. Those tips get sent to us in schools. Like I know I'm one of the individuals that receive them. and that we can go and do an investigation about the bullying. If you don't want to come forward or talk to adult yourself at school, you can go through and do that anonymously. Schools do provide ways of trying to teach students, let's say, about, not being a bystander. If you are, if you're experiencing, witness somebody else who's getting bullied, what is it that those students who are watching can do? We want them to stand up and be upstanders. We want them to help the victim, because right then and there, the bully has all the power. And so what we try to do is work with students to say, hey, if you see this going on, try to support the person that you see that's getting bullied. If you see that online, contact a trusted adult, take a screenshot of what's going on so that it can be reported, documented, and investigated. Because a lot of times the bully, they may put things on there, but then they delete it when they think an adult is about to see it. So take that screenshot, don't share it with others, because you don't want to keep spreading what's going on social media, but find an adult and get help for them. Because a lot of time the person who's been victimized by bullying is not in a place where they can go get help for themselves. All right. And it says a question: what if you're struggling with your mental health on the weekend? You're not really able to contact your teachers and counselors on the weekend. That is true. But you can contact the Montgomery County Crisis Line, because that's there. If you're in this place where you need to talk to somebody right now, the Montgomery County Crisis Line is there for you, so that you can go and talk to somebody right then and there, and then get you some of the help that you need. If you are in an immediate crisis situation, let's say if you're thinking about harming yourself, or somebody is trying to hurt you, or you're thinking about, you're so mad at somebody that you want to harm somebody else, we also have the Montgomery County Crisis Center, and they're open 24 hours, 7 days a week as well. And that they can either come to your home, or you can go to their facility in Rockville, and they will get help for you in order to see what other additional things can be done in order to make sure that either yourself or no one else is harmed. Okay, it says a question from Alex: who can students talk to about college-related stress? For my students here on my panel. So who do you think, who are some folks in your schools that you feel like you can go and talk to about, especially if you're stressed out about school, or if you're stressed out about thinking about college and applications and all those things?
I think I might be the only senior in here. But I know, and
Laura too.
Yeah, I know that, man, it is really stressful. It's one of the stressful things. You got to write your essay, get recommendations, all this stuff. And it is something, that takes a lot of time, is very stressful, and you get, anxiety doing it. But one thing is important is that you think to yourself, if this is really what you want to do, then, meet with teachers. A lot of your teachers who do your recommendations, well, first, every teacher's gone to college. So, they have some experience doing that, and writing college essays and things like that. So go to them, have them, make your college, review your college essay, things like that. Go to your counselor. They're always there to, help you, guide you through, guidance counselor to guide you through, graduating, getting to college or a career. And, they're very helpful with, finding out who you should give your recommendations to, when you should start, give you a timeline of dates, scholarships, things like that. And also your college and career center counselor. They're there for anything you need that's college related. You can do college tours, talk to them about the stress of college, talk to them about how you can make it easier applying for colleges. There are multiple apps you can use. The Common App, Black Common App, and the Coalition app are just a few. And just, reaching out and, looking up online what are some, free, help for college and SAT or ACT testing that you could take for college, and, knowing if you can submit your test scores to, some schools or not. And it's a lot of things that play into the factors of applying to college, but just know that, at the end of the day, you will hopefully be, accepted into a college. It'll all go away, and, you feel a lot better. So I know that much.
Well, thank you, Shelton, for that. And so one of the other questions that has come up is, so for our panelists, so how do each of you de-stress?
For me, oh, go ahead, Daniel.
Oh, no, you can go ahead.
For me personally, I like to take time off to either work out, make art, read, or just kind of lie around, sleep, do nothing, because that's often the best way to just relax, watch movies, things like that.
I know for me, the best way I distress is I bake a lot. Every time on the weekend, my house is like it's like a bakery. I have cakes every single weekend as well. I also like to read a lot. I love nothing more than just, getting in bed and reading a really good book.
Yeah, I really enjoy music. I listen to music almost 24/7. I also sing, so those are two things that I do to de-stress. I really like to read, similar to Daniel. And I also spend time with friends who make me happy and give me energy. That's a huge way that I de-stress.
Yeah, definitely. Like Mahi and Kaylee said, I like to hang out with friends, just do nothing. But I also play three instruments, and that it really makes me feel good to, be able to listen to music. That's okay, but to be able to play music is really, really amazing. And hang out with my dogs, things like that. So yeah, just whatever makes you happy, do that, and you'll de-stress.
Okay. Oh, say, Lauren, you're unmuted. Did you have something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I'm a big knitter, so I love knitting. I got into that over quarantine. And my advice, if you're looking for new hobbies, anything that makes you feel like a grandma is usually really de-stressing. And really, honestly, crocheting, baking as well. But once again, I think engaging in those simple activities that we often take for granted has really brought me the most happiness. So, yeah.
Okay. So, and thinking what I'll say, I'm trying to go through so many other things. And I know like all the things you said are things that I know we hear from students and great things, like I was sitting there thinking like the movie thing, like, I love the Marvel MCU and I got to go see the Eternals. So for those of you who like those kind of movies, I do. I know my daughter and I like to go and see that. So, and some of the questions around, so why do you all talked about this a little bit, but why do you think that mental health is stigmatized in our community?
I think it's stigmatized because a lot of people just don't know what it is. A lot of people just don't understand it. I know that fear is kind of like the biggest motivation for someone not to like it. And I think that's really much true, especially with my parents. They kind of had a hard time understanding what mental health is because it was something that they really weren't taught about in their home country. Or something that they just were taught, it gets better as you grow up. So I think fear and just not knowing.
I know for me, I grew up in an environment where there was a connotation and a narrative about mental health being seen as weak almost. So if you suffered from mental health issues, you were seen as a weak person. And I think that's something that really drives the stigma around mental health for a lot of people from different communities.
Yeah, I agree. I think, back in the day, as they say, many people, they didn't talk about mental health. They didn't know about it. And, if they did, if someone said, oh, I'm depressed, I'm sad, they used to say, well, man up is what they used to say. And so, now we get into a more progressive environment, progressive society where it's a big issue. And it's an issue that, now that we're seeing almost everyone faces or deals with mental health. And I think that, along with everyone else said, one thing that drives the stigma of mental health is, not understanding how it affects you, because, everyone does deal with it now that we know about it more, but how it affects you and how you can get help for it is a big drive of, wondering, well, am I okay? Am I not okay? How can I get help? And, many people just leave it at that. And it's things like not knowing about the resources that you have and knowing about, how you can get help, which, stops people, like Mahi said earlier, from getting diagnosed with mental health and getting treatment for it at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree with all of your points. And I've found for older generations that having a therapist
I think it got frozen. That's not good. We'll come back to Kaylee's point because I want to hear what you talked about with that. And so some of the other questions on here are, someone's asking, like, how many psychologists are there? So there are just a little over 140 school psychologists in MCPS. They are assigned to each school, but some of them have multiple schools that they work at, so they're not there full time. And that we are making an effort to get more school psychologists. Like I said, we have several vacancies. So we've been going out trying to recruit, trying to go to job fairs, trying to do all these things to get more. And so even trying to work with some of the universities to say, can we get more students in the actual school psychology program so that we can hire more into the field. So there's a national shortage of them. So I'm always telling, like, for our Thursday thing, that's Thursday night when we have our careers in mental health fair, we'll be talking more about that. And especially if you are a student who's interested in going into the mental health field, because you'll always have a job. That was one of the reasons why I went to school psychology. It's one of the highest paying mental health fields, and that you will always have a job no matter where you are. But I know one thing, if you are an MCPS student and you go into school psychology, come back and find me when you graduate, because we will get you a job. Okay, so and there's also some things in here about if you try to go down to see your counselor and your counselor isn't there, they're not available, who can somebody be there to try to provide support for you? And I know in many of the counseling centers around the counseling suites around the schools, they have, a lot of times they have what's called a counselor on duty. And so let's say if your counselor's in meetings that day, they have another person there who can try to meet with you and provide that support in an immediate sense. They kind of go through a rotation. So just trying to make sure if you're in a crisis or you just need to talk to someone right away, that there is somebody there. So if you go to the counseling suite and just want to go, and if their counselor isn't available, go see, can you talk to the counselor who's on call at that moment to provide support for you, and they'll be able to work with you in that moment, and or at least try to schedule an appointment for you to talk to your counselor. Because we know, like, there are times when things come up, especially with mental health, you're going through something, you need to talk to someone right away. But if you go to the counseling secretary, they'll try to find somebody, or see, maybe your school psychologist is there. Maybe they can talk to you, or maybe if you're pupil personnel worker, a lot of them used to be counselors or social workers, and can also provide support to you. And so one of the questions from our panelists, it says, so what do you feel in terms of how can you help your friends or your peers who you see who are suffering from mental illness? What do you think are some things that the students can do to help their friend?
I think one big thing is, talking to them, and referring them to a counselor, to a psychologist, to a mental health professional. But on a side note, what I try to do every day, I try to make, everyone I come in contact with laugh and smile. And, I've been, people that have complimented me, they said, oh, you always make me smile every day. And, the smaller things you do could affect someone's day. This one person, I greeted them. I said, their hair was nice. And, they said that made their day. They were sad, the day they were tired. And, it felt good to, make someone feel good about themselves and feel, confident about their character and how they portray themselves in society. And so I think the small things that we do, even though we don't think they matter, they matter. But also, being there for someone, having an open ear instead of an open mouth is always, the best way to go. And don't judge people, talk to them, refer them to people. And yeah, I think that's a pretty good way that I deal with my friends and myself, mental.
Sometimes I think the best thing to do is just to listen to people. I know that me included, a lot of people just need to rant to someone, just, get things off their chest. And after we do, we feel a lot better because all that pent up rage and all that pent up anger, we just release it. So just listening really does help. Also checking in on people, making sure that, if you think that your friend's down, or if you just, it doesn't have to be a friend, just a peer is just down, just asking, how are you? Are you okay? Just that action alone, even though they might not open up to you, just makes them, feel like they're cared for and that someone's looking out for them.
I agree with both Daniel and Shelton's points. And I think that we need to be more cognizant about the people around us, especially, even if we don't know who the person is, whether you see them at school, whether you see them struggling, just reach out, just ask, and ensure that everyone around you is doing okay. And, make sure that your friends know that you're here as a resource too.
I know, especially this year, it's been really helpful knowing that I can talk to my peers about mental health, and knowing that I can get validation for it. You know what I mean? So even if I'm having a bad day, I know my peers will be like, it's okay, we're all going through it, you'll be all right. Tomorrow's another day, so it's been really helpful having that community, which I think everyone should try to be a part of, to just support one another and just validate one another's feelings.
Yeah, and just really quickly echo what everyone said. I think those little random acts of kindness are something that I've tried to incorporate into my lifestyle, and they really do go a long way. Just like complimenting a stranger in the hallway as they're walking past you, or your friend's new bag or whatever, small little things. It just goes a really long way. And I've been lucky enough to be surrounded in a friend group that has nourished me and supported me in every single way. And I try to reciprocate that with all my other relationships. So.
All right. So, there's some other questions around. So can you go see your psychologist during the school day, or is it only after school? No, you can talk to them. You can go try to find them and talk to them during the day. You can schedule an appointment with them as well. If you want to go talk to them. Someone said if you're having a hard time connecting with your new counselor because your counselor left and went somewhere over the summer, you can talk to the resource counselor at your school. They're kind of like the person that's in charge of all the counselors. And they will help you in terms of trying to make sure, like trying to find a good match between you and your counselor. If you're struggling with your current counselor, they can talk to you and see, well, what's going on, or is there a way that we can fix it, or is there a need for switching your counselor if that's not working? A question from Lee: what is the next step for a student if you come across someone suffering from depression or anxiety? Great question. So if you find someone who is suffering from any kind of mental illness, talk to somebody, go talk to an adult. There are trusted adults in your school. You can talk to your administrators, like your counselors, your teachers, others in your school, your security staff, and say, hey, I have this friend, I think they're suffering from this and I think they need help, so that they can get you in touch with somebody at the school, like let's say your school psychologist, because the school psychologists are the only mental health professionals in schools that can actually diagnose. And so they can go and try to figure out like what supports are needed. Your counselors can make referrals as well to psychologists or PPWs, to outside agencies if they need to go talk to maybe their pediatrician, or go talk to an outside therapist, or maybe even a psychiatrist if they need a medication, or see what other services. I know for some of you, like Shelton said, like his school has a wellness center that can also provide this type of support for students. And so if your school doesn't have that, that's when you go talk to some of your other staff to see, what help can we get for them. But again, if you're in need of a diagnosis, let's say if you're trying to go and get some other kind of services, then the psychologist is that person that can provide that for you, and work with you on getting that type of support, and also work with your families. I know there's a question in here. So what if you're struggling and your parents really aren't listening, or maybe because of stigma that they don't believe you, or and I've worked with students who come from all different backgrounds. And when I was a school psychologist, before becoming head of department, trying to work with students who and their families, who maybe, because especially I worked in a community that was predominantly Black and brown, and many individuals in the community didn't believe in mental health. And so this was in Maryland, this was in the Chicago area. And so they work with their families to try to help them to understand, what are some of the support that's needed, and try to help to destigmatize mental health. And I know that our communities speak a lot about mental health. And we've been hearing a lot about the news. You'll see it in the media and movies and TV shows and so forth. And really, which are great things in a way of trying to help to destigmatize the concept, but there's still a lot of individuals who don't understand it, or think that if you get a diagnosis, or if you go and you get therapy, they're going to throw you into an institution and lock you up for the rest of your life. It's not like that. And so we have to help folks to kind of tease apart those rumors or myths that are out there around mental health. We did a whole another Waymaking special on the impact of mental health and racism. And so there's a lot of issues and concerns just due to racism in the community and how that can be a trigger for mental health issues, but also because of issues around racism, a lot of individuals don't get the services that they need. And so if y'all ever interested, you can go and look on the Waymaking playlist and find that episode, because it was 3 of them, 2 in English, 1 in Spanish, and going into some of those topics. And when someone brought up a conversation around intersectionality, and that especially as you're working with individuals who, intersectionality is a concept of looking at different types of people have different types of identities. It's like for myself, I am an African American and a woman. And so there's intersectionality there, where it's for being a person of color, but also being female. And so what are some of the issues that may come about due to when you have, coming from different areas, you have multiple identities that you relate to, and that how does that impact the ability to go forth and receive services? And do we have these conversations in health class and so forth? Like health does talk about mental health. If I had my colleague, Dr. Grant on, she would sit there like, yes, of course, we talk about mental health and health classes. And especially in working with those who are part of, I know there was a question in the chat also about working with students who are part of the LGBTQ plus community, and the supports that are needed, and books and other things, and so they can help to feel connected, and that their stories are being talked about in school. And I know MCPS has done a lot of work around trying to make sure to integrate conversations from multiple groups, so that students can see themselves in the literature and things that they are reading. But yes, we do try to make sure that, and these are part of the conversations that we have, I know, within my office under Student Family Support and Engagement with our staff around issues of intersectionality, issues of bias, issues of privilege, issues that impact the service delivery of mental health support in our schools, and what can we do to destigmatize and also look at making sure that we're providing equitable practices across all of our schools. I know that was a lot. All right. So a question that came up. So for our panelists, do you all have any suggestions or know of maybe some of your friends who've experienced, let's say if you have issues with test anxiety, what are some of the things that you've seen or you've seen your friends do, or maybe some of the things your teachers are trying to help you with in terms of alleviating issues around testing anxiety?
Yeah, so I personally struggle from like a huge test anxiety, especially with math. I end up freezing up on the test, and I just blink out. One thing that really helped me that my math teacher actually suggested was for me to make myself a practice test and kind of treat it like if it's an actual test. So I'll pull questions from homeworks, from the textbook readings that we've done, just random questions that are the topic that we learned about. I just take it. I take set a timer for 45 minutes and treat it like it's the actual test. So I'm more prepared, and so I'm kind of like used to the idea that I have to take this test with this in front of me. And it really did help, because now I kind of just think that it's a test, I just treat it like a practice, and I kind of get the test done without freezing up too much.
Just like Daniel, that's actually my strategy too. I have terrible test anxiety as well. But something that works well for me is, getting so comfortable with the material that I know I won't freeze up the next day. Practicing to the point where I know that tomorrow when I'm taking the test, there's nothing that I will be able to forget. I think that's what works best for me. And it really just depends on the way that everyone learns. But again, it's all about being comfortable in the environment that you're in.
Yeah, I completely agree with Mahi and Daniel. I suffer from text anxiety so bad, it's horrible. And I think it's very common. I think it's also not a good depiction of students themselves and how smart they are, quote unquote, that a teacher says they are because of a grade they get on a test, and it's not an accurate depiction of the student. But I know that one thing for sure is treating a practice test as it's a real test, because it'll get you in that comfortable zone for when it comes up. Getting the right amount of sleep before the test as well, because, sometimes you're reading, you're like, and you start dozing off. It's horrible. And also just taking a deep breath and reflecting on everything you've learned in your class, or just clearing your mind. That is helping a lot, especially taking the SAT, clearing your mind and just getting mentally ready for the test, because it's a struggle, 3-hour-long test in some cases, or even, 2-minute tests. You have to get your mindset ready for what you're about to do and how you can, accomplish it and pass hope.
Okay. I know we're coming close to the end here. So someone has a question around our counselors good for mental health resources. And yes, if you're going and you're looking for mental health resources, yes, your school counselors, your school psychologists, your PBWs and others are available to help you in providing some mental health resources that are available at your school and within your community. And on here, it says, what should be the balance between helping your peers and prioritizing your mental health? Now, I would say that's a great question. And so it's kind of like, when we talk about, on the airplane and you gotta, they tell the parents to put their mask on first before putting on their children's mask. Like if you are struggling with your own concerns and so forth, and your friends are kind of draining to the point where you're not taking care of yourself, you got to put on your mask. You got to go and making sure that you're engaging in self-care, because it's going to be really hard for you to help your friends if you're struggling too. You got to find balance. And I'm not saying don't help your friends, but if your friends are at a place where they're completely sucking you dry and you're not able to sleep or eat or take care of your own mental health, you got to make sure you're taking care of yourself. There's nothing wrong with being, and it's not even being selfish. Like you have to be able to take care of yourself. And those are excellent coping skills for our students, especially as you're getting older. And so we got to make sure that you are taking care of yourself, help your friends, but also, again, you got to make sure you got to put on your mask and take care of yourself so that you can go forth and help others. Because again, you can't drink from an empty cup. So I know those you're probably these are some old school metaphors that you hear from your parents and everything else. That's okay. I'll take that. And on here, if you are experiencing bullying, yes, you can report it anonymously. We do have the Maryland Safe Schools tip line. And so hopefully some of our chat moderators can put that phone number. It is also an app in the App Store. So if you look for the Maryland Safe Schools tip line, you can download the app or you can call the number and you can report bullying that is anonymously to individuals in the school. So as we move forward, I want to make sure that I want to thank our panelists and my lovely co-host Lauren for helping and participating in today's live episode, Waymaking special on student mental health. We just want to make sure, again, for all of you coming out, we talked a lot about the needs of mental health services in schools, the need for more staffing for this, and also a lot of good suggestions from our panel and also our students from our Minds Matter clubs, and talking about what are some things that students can do in order to help them and help themselves with their mental health. So I want to make sure that we have some additional information. So if you go on to our Mental Health Awareness Week website, it has additional information and resources, as well as our Be Well 365 website for our students and our families. If you are looking for additional resources and support around mental health, we have those services there. We also want to make sure that our students know we've come to that end. So if you are looking for that QR code so you can get your SSL hours for listening to today's episode, please make sure that you go forth and do that. We also have that's our slide there. So our SSL form must be completed by 5 p.m. tomorrow. That is November the 10th. So if you are watching this live today, please make sure go do that. You have until 5 p.m. p.m. tomorrow to fill out your form so you can get your 2 SSL hours for that can go toward graduation. We also have information, if you go back a slide too, a reminder of our Waymaking videos. You can go to our Waymaking special website. We also have a YouTube playlist that you can go on and look for additional episodes within our series if you want to learn more about a variety of topics. We also have an evaluation for today. So please go, you can scan your phone to the QR code. You can complete the evaluation and give us feedback that can help us toward future Waymaking episodes as well as other live events. And so I want to thank all of the people behind the scenes and our panelists and our co-hosts for being with us today and supporting our live Waymaking event. And as always, we want to thank our viewers for joining us for our Waymaking special on student mental health. Thank you all and good night.